afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television two different ways. Channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant TV, which is worldwide. You can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on Facebook Live, all the social media sites, unless they kick me out, DeJoly. But right now you can find us on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook and just all the social media sites. But we definitely appreciate you listening to us every day. Now, you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us. Definitely appreciate this. Now, DeJoly is a really good friend of mine, and so she is an author, she's a speaker, and she's really helped save my brain cells up here. And because everybody goes through things in their life. It could be childhood, it could be some kind of a trauma, it could be anything. But this lady right here has been through it, and she has survived. You are a survivor if I've ever met one, DeJoly.
I am. Somebody was saying yesterday, I was very shocked when she said it, that she's appreciating me more as an elder every day, because I have survived. And I think a lot of people survive. And for me, I don't take any kudos for survival. And to have somebody else say that, like you say that I've saved your brain cells and all that stuff, it's like always a surprise to me when people say that,
But it's not. You've been a huge source, and that's why I wanted you out here on Abundant TV, so folks all over the world and all over the country can hear you, because it's so worth saying. So let's talk about survival mode, okay? Because right now, a lot of things factor into this. We've got a crazy economy going on right now. COVID hit over 2 years ago, and the price of everything is going up. And sometimes people, they get so much into their head. It's just so much going on that they can't think clearly. So what's your take on that?
Well, part of that is programming, because we've always lived in a country of abundance, and we all think that we'll always have a way to get to the store and buy the things we want at a reasonable price, and even if it goes up, oh well, it'll go up a little bit, but it won't go out of sight, that kind of thing. And so we're having to face the brainwashing that we've been put through and come back to reality, where now people are understanding that they have to plant a garden, learn how to, learn how to dry food, learn how to, if you go to the store and you're getting one thing, get two, so that you at least have something in your cupboard to go to. So I see us as coming out of a state of sleep, so to speak, like we're waking up. And more people are waking up, and they have to understand that things are going to get a little harder, and they need to be prepared. I'm not a prepper per se, but I do know how to do things. You and I grow gardens, and sometimes they go crazy and sometimes they're dead. I was so happily surprised this morning. I planted one tomatillo plant, and I thought, it's supposed to have another one with it, and they didn't have a second one, so I just took it and said, oh well, and I put it right next to a tomato plant. And amazingly enough, it grew. It's about 10 feet in diameter. It's spreading all over the place, but full of blooms and no tomatillos, right? So this morning I go out and I do my normal singing to my garden and all that stuff. And lo and behold, there's one little tomatillo hanging by itself on the vine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got a tomatillo, So anyway, my gardens are flourishing this year. Everything is changing and so beautiful. The rain in August, who knew,
Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk?
Absolutely. Part of it, and here we'll probably get kicked off of Facebook, but I blame part of it on the government. And this is where the government says, we take care of you. You don't have to worry about it. We're going to.
But you have to understand that back in the 40s, the CIA created that program, Project Mockingbird, which enlisted a lot of the media into an agenda that they had, which was governmental, and to basically put people under the spell of abundance, and it'll always be there. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. If you go into poverty, we'll fix it for you. That kind of thing, and that's still going on. So people have to actually look at reality and look at the media, because they're absolutely opposite each other, because the media is spreading these lies of it'll be okay, don't worry, the government will give you more. We're going to spend another $65 trillion on, making inflation go down. I mean, in my wildest dreams, I can't even imagine how somebody logically can say, if we spend trillions of dollars, our inflation rate's going to go down. That's ridiculous.
Not gonna work.
But we are in that mode because when the social program started a long time ago, the media under that program of the CIA, Project Mockingbird, created this, it's almost like a hypnotist that brings that little thing in front of you that puts you to sleep and says, it'll be okay, don't worry about it, it'll be okay. And it's not okay, because when you start relying so much on the government providing for you, you forget how to do things. And I guess maybe my awakeness has been because of my past. And so I learned how to do a lot of things over the years, so that by this time in my life and in our world situation, I am able to provide for myself in the garden and doing other things. So,
and you can, you really can. There's the old saying, I forgot where it came from, but give a man a fish, but then teach him how to fish and he'll never go hungry. And that's
right.
So true. And I would like to see, if you want to have government programs, I would like to see more government programs on you surviving, how you can do things. And there's something about being accomplished when it's as simple as having a garden. I mean, it's that simple. And we've been given this in small doses. Okay. Like in school, every kid gets a trophy, whether you win or lose. I mean, it doesn't matter. Well, what that does to the kids who would normally, it takes away your thoughts of prosperity. It takes away the drive, the ambition.
Yes,
we've seen that coming. You and I have been talking about that for a long time. That can't be good.
No, it isn't good. The children that are coming up today are being pressured to have all of this agenda, the woke agenda, the core in the school, the CRT, the transgender programs, and all of that. And now Alabama has lowered their standards for teachers qualifying. It's totally amazing to me how the governor and her people underneath her can think it's okay that we're at the bottom of the scores in the whole nation. Alabama is at the bottom, and you're lowering the standards on everything and putting in agendas that children don't need to be affected by, don't even think about in their wildest dreams at the age that they're pushing these agendas. So to me, it's like, and they're pushing the parents out of the possibility of teaching their kids. Wow. Because they're teaching, in for instance, in core, they have no idea how to teach their kids how to do math, because it's so weird. And they even insert CRT, critical race theory, into the math program, into science, into English. I mean, they keep inserting all of these programs. So the children are not only pressured to be different from what, as I grew up, black and white, 1 and 1 is 2, Harry Potter was a great, those kinds of things. If you ask somebody if they've read The Scarlet Letter or any of Hemingway or any of Victor Hugo, they go,
who's that?
What? Who's that? What's that? A book? Is it on the internet? Can I get an ebook? It's just, we've gotten so used to having these things that we forget our history, which is commonly being erased now as we speak. But, we've gotten into that oh, let's one more thing. They add one more thing, like oh, it's okay. They're only going to track, my record at McDonald's, but that record at McDonald's on that Q code
Mm-hmm.
is tracking you everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just tracking you at McDonald's. So, for me, it's like maybe life is easier now than it was in the past, as far as being able to go to the store and buy something, as opposed to getting out in your garden and digging a hole and planting a plant and growing it and eating it from the ground. There's so much difference in the two places that now the ease of it, people are getting into that sleep mode so easily because life is easy. Just, oh, it's just a Q code. Let me just scan that and get my pizza, that kind of thing. They don't think of it in terms of
And
what.
you don't know what's in that pizza either because you've not put it together.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have a clue.
That's right. And they don't know where their information is being stored. They don't know who's tracking them. They don't even think about that. They don't think of the future of their children and their children's children. They think of right now in this moment. And I'm not saying that every person, every child, every teenager is that way, but that's what the agenda is, that they want these children and adult and growing into adult kind of people to fall into. They want it to be in kind of a slumbering kind of, oh yeah, life is easy,
Just ease into it.
Yeah.
I have this thing about, I love books.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so afraid that it would be so easy. Let's just take the Bible. Okay, so let's just say you read it on your tablet, the Bible on your tablet. It would be so easy for somebody to go in and change the verse to where it has a totally different meaning to it. Whereas if you've got the book, nobody can change that. Now, somebody can turn the page, somebody can do that. But what I mean is you're not going to be able to change the meaning of it if it's in a book. And I know this sounds like really old fogey of me, but I want a book. I want a book that I can turn the pages,
Mm-hmm. Well, just taking that example though, historically, the Bible was changed many times depending on who was in power at the time. Mm-hmm. And the other day on TikTok, I saw a woman who was just outraged because one of her Bibles had verses in it that weren't in another Bible. And one was a King James version and one was a different one. So she is seeing the difference between the two. Now, if you take a Victor Hugo book, who's going to change the Hunchback of Notre Dame? Nobody cares about that. But the Bible, because it has been used to control people, you can change it without people knowing. And the new versions come out, and they don't even say this is a new version. Look for a deletion of this one, and they don't tell you what's missing or what's added. So people need to realize that, yeah, I love books. I love the hardcore hard book right in front of me. It's easier for me to pick up a book and go somewhere than it is to pick up my computer and go somewhere. But I really like the feel and the smell of the texture of the book. I'm a writer, so that's my love. Mm-hmm. And so for most people, though, they are into the tablet and into ebooks and all of that stuff, and they don't have any clue about how, yes, it can be changed.
But just like that, it can be
just like that.
And then how are you going to learn? Because I had some awesome school teachers when I was a kid growing up. And one thing they hammered on was that reading makes you smarter, because you're able to explore. Pippi Longstockings. When I was a kid in school, I read every book. I had them memorized, and I loved it because she was an adventurist. And mm-hmm. she would, stow away on a ship. She would go to another mm-hmm. country. And I like that imagination being used. Do you feel like the thoughts of imagination are being taken away?
I do, and I think that when you talk to people that are in between, like the high school age and like 30s. Those people in between there have some entrepreneurial kind of zest. They think, they explore, and then you get to this age of they don't have an imagination. They think if it's not on their phone or on their iPad, they can't think of it. And it's really hard to watch that, because I see it happening all the time, where you go to someone's house, and you go and 4 of the 5 are sitting on their phones looking down rather than looking up and looking at you. So it's kind of like they're stuck in that little maze, a matrix of what's on the computer is the right thing. What they don't understand is that's not necessarily true. They don't understand that the government can lie to them. They can, this person in media can lie to you, or this celebrity can lie to you, and they're right there. Oh, look, that's the truth, and it's not the truth. The truth is right in front of you, eye to eye with a human being, and then experiencing that is the truth.
Like my granddad, both my granddads would say, you can tell a lot about a person just by looking them in the eye. I mean, you can tell whether they're a fraud. You can tell whether they're an honest person or not. There's a word that it just keeps popping into my mind all the time, and it's overwhelm. Do you feel like that we have been put into a state of being overwhelmed? Because you can be so overwhelmed that you can't think straight. You can't concentrate. It takes concentration away. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that's purposeful. I think that is true. And I think that so much is happening so quickly, but I think that it's happening so quickly for those of us who are aware, because sometimes people aren't aware and they don't know why they're confused, or they don't know why they're having a hard time thinking or making a decision or whatever, because they aren't aware of the bigger picture that's coming in and pressing on their psyche. But for those of us who are, it's kind of like it can be overwhelming, because you can see all the little things, all the pieces that are falling together, and all of the misinformation that's out there about whatever conflict in the world there might be, or even about inflation. There's all kinds of misinformation going out there. So yeah, we can get overwhelmed. I also think, truthfully, that it's a choice. You can be in overwhelm, or you can get out of overwhelm. I think all of our mental states can be a choice. They may not necessarily be, but I think they can be a choice. And so we can choose to see the beauty and the abundance in the world, or we can choose to see all of the negative, overwhelming things, and we go into our little cocoon and we sit in the closet and suck our thumbs, because it can be pretty bad. But if we can see that that's a choice, we can stop ourselves from going to the closet and sit with it and just find something else to focus on, like find a garden, find a flower in the garden that's beautiful. It's a choice.
But isn't it the whole, because you've been in this situation before, you were raised this way. So when there's a predator who tries to keep you in the cocoon and you can't get out, or you feel like you can't get out and explore, what does that do to your mind?
That stifles. But it's the old Stockholm syndrome, where your captors become your normalized, let's say.
A new normal. We keep hearing that word.
There you go, the new normal. We are captors, or captured, sorry. And our captors are supposedly nice guys, right? But in reality, they have an agenda. And so, yes, you can feel like I did, hopeless. I felt hopeless, and there was no way out. I was still, until I graduated from high school, I was under their thumb, and it took me a long time after that to let go of them psychically, because they were in my head. Even if they weren't physically around me, they were in my head. So it took a lot of determination and willingness on my part to go through the hard spaces to get to the good spaces,
What is the very first, if you, and I feel like we're all being held captive right now. Now, some of us can think ahead. Some of us are free thinkers, and I think they don't like that, but some of us are. So what can you do what would be the very first step for someone who's not a free thinker, and they've got this glimpse in their mind that could be better than this? I don't have to be bogged down. I don't have to be in the cocoon. I can get out and be a beautiful butterfly. What's the first thing somebody could do?
as the person that's coming out of that situation.
Wants to come out of it, but they don't know how.
They don't know how. Um, First step, that's a big one, because it comes from inside.
You're afraid.
So
I'm comfortable in here. I feel like because my captors have told me that I'm safe in this cocoon.
mhm. Well,
I'm smothering. I don't feel safe.
no, you're smothering. You don't feel safe. It's hard to do a generalization, okay?
Mhm.
But I remember when I started doubting that it was a safe place, and if a person is looking to get out, they're obviously doubting that it's a safe place.
That's a good thing.
So to be willing to look at other options. In other words, when I came out of the harsh place I had to look at other options of people who were willing to help me, or people who were befriending me, or even to to I offer prayer, whatever, the things that we can do for each other as human beings. And even if it's just to sit with a person and put your hand on their hand or on their arm or around their shoulders, just to say, I'm here if you need me. And then that person will look to you later and say, I need your help, because they're doubting that they're safe.
Mhm. The human touch goes a long way.
It sure
I
does.
feel like this masking and, distancing, social distancing, and all this stuff that we've seen for the past couple of years, I don't know, it just feels like there's a big agenda, where you lose that human touch.
You do lose the human touch. And that's one of the things that they're finding in many studies now about masking with children, because a child doesn't see the mother's face. They don't respond. The actual IQs have gone down, and the ability to relate to human beings has gone down, because they have the mask between them and the human being. And so they can't see all the cues that we give with our face, because our face tells how we feel,
Well,
tells
the
how we talk.
smile, your mouth says a lot.
Yeah, your
Because
mouth,
you can
your
say somebody's
eyes.
frowning, they're smiling, they're whatever, but the mouth, you cover this right here, you can't see if I'm smiling or not. You might be able to see it because I smile all over my whole face, but some people don't. And so you're not gonna be able to tell whether I'm smiling or not.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be able to know, am I mad at you? Am I happy with you? Am I what with you? You're not gonna be
Right.
able to tell with
Well,
that.
there was a situation that locally, where the students actually cried when they saw their teacher's face for the first time after being masked for about 3 months of the school year, and finally being unmasked. They were able to see her face. And it was just like a tearful hugging, please don't ever have us put these back on. They threw their masks up in the air and just hugged each other. And I think that's very indicative of how we have been programmed to, this is the right thing to do, when in fact it's the most wrong thing to do. It doesn't help anything, and it doesn't prevent anything, obviously. So the studies are now out, if you need scientific proof. But if you just look at a child, from the way they're behaving, that it's been programmed into them that that's the norm, and they don't have any connection with humans. Because, and the prominence of autism in children has escalated. They're saying that 1 in 32 children now are being born with autism, not being born, but are getting autism because of the situation, not only the shots, but also the lack of human contact, basically. So I think that we have made a big mistake with masking. It wasn't necessary, not in the history of the world of medicine, have anybody ever masked a healthy person or thought that a virus wouldn't get through a mask. Even the N95 masks were not safe for people supposedly getting a virus. So, I have my own ideas and theories on that, which we could get knocked off the channel for, but
We've got about 4 minutes left. I wanted to ask you about something too. And this is, we can hear news, and you and I and several others will doubt what we hear. because so much has been thrown at us, so many lies, so many, and then people are just being so brainwashed. And I'm talking about on a massive scale, brainwashing. Okay, there are people right now who think we're having a good economy. There are people right now who think, oh, well, gas is now 60 cents less than it was, but it's also over $2 higher than it was a couple of years ago.
Right, right.
And so let's go up on the price of gas, and then let's save them a little bit of money. We'll go down 50 cents less per gallon and make them proud that they're paying 50 cents less per gallon. What is that doing to people who really are not free thinkers, who can't think about, no, we're not in a good economy.
Well, I think it takes, you know how they say in the 12-step programs, you have to hit your bottom before you really realize where you are and that you ask for help or that you get yourself out of it.
There.
I think some people need to hit the bottom and realize they can't afford to go to work now because gas is costing too much. They can't afford to even drive to the grocery store. It may get to that. And so some people have to see the worst situation before they realize, oh, maybe we're not in such a good economy. If they want to buy a house, think about it. There's no way. Most people can't afford it because the prices have gone up and the interest rates are up. And so what are they going to do?
But what can you do? I mean, because there are people who literally think we're in a good economy right now. They think we're on the way, we're going up, not down. Yeah. I mean, they really believe this.
I know. It's
That's
actually
mind control.
It's astonishing to me how many people are feeling that way. But mind control started back with the CIA. And it started before that with Freud and his nephew, Bernays created propaganda, and they called it public service or public communication or whatever. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this has been around for years, this brainwashing. And so it takes, I think, hitting bottom and realizing, for those who are diehard, I think this is a great economy. If they're diehard then they're going to have to see the worst before they get the best.
Yes, and unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be. We have about 1 minute and 36 seconds left. How can folks find your work? And you also speak to groups.
I do. I speak to groups. I have done a lot of public speaking in my past to conferences and universities and churches and that kind of thing. So they can reach me at DeJoly.com, DeJoly.com. There's a form there to reach me through my email. My email directly is lifeasaonesie@gmail.com. And you can also find other work that I've done on the internet. Just put in my name, DeJoly LaBrier, and you'll find it.
Absolutely. You know what? I sure do appreciate you. You're a big light in this really dark world that we're living in right now.
Thank you.
If there is hope, where do you think the hope stems from?
Inside. It has to come from inside because there's so much outside that would make you hopeless.
Do you think prayer helps? Prayer to God?
Prayer, I think that whatever form of faith you have, faith is knowing without any agenda, without any doubt. It's not based on possibility or maybe or voodoo. But every religion in the world has a way to connect with their spirit.
We're going to have to go. My thought on that is Jesus is the only way. That's it. I just don't see any other way. DeJoly, thank you so much.